All right, guys, it's story time. I had a plan for a different topic. In fact, I recorded 24 minutes of me talking about sort of globalism, the current problems in America right now, in comparison to China, and it had all sorts of facets of inspiration and things. But I recorded it, and there was a problem with the microphone, and it just fuzzed out. The whole video was trash. So we are starting fresh, we're starting new, and I'm going to change the topic completely. We're going to talk about my friend Ryan Freeman. We're going to talk about my first kiss, and we're going to talk about speaking your mind. This might be a long episode, but it all kind of transpired in the last 30 minutes. So here we go. For those of you that know me, I'm before this section of period of time. Some of you are new subscribers, but normally I'm cycling around the world on a recumbent trike. I'm doing this because I love life, because I love interacting with people, sharing stories, and seeing the good things in the world. That was a mindset that was adapted from a friendship that I had with a guy named Ryan Freeman. Ryan is a guy I met here in China. He's an American living in LA, and he's a unique fella. And you'll find out how unique he is when you view the links I share below and here. Ryan was the first guy that came into my life when I was gung-ho, greedy, not too greedy, but I was focused on being rich. I thought if I was rich, then I could have the things that I think would make me happy. I could do the things and accomplish the things that make me happy. Ryan was, and still is, he's a free bird, man. I met him here at a party and Thanksgiving when I first, like a decade ago. Gosh, so long. And long story short, he said, "Hey, Matt, why don't you run with me?" And he lived in my my apartment building, and every day he'd come down and we'd go for runs. And we would do about 7 kilometers every day. I lost weight. I felt good. I felt purposeful. And then he's like, "Hey, Matt, let's take trips. Let's go out for the weekend. We'll go somewhere. We'll just have fun. No plan, no money, no hotel, no booking, no nothing. Go to a Chinese Chinese bus station. Pick one of the characters on the big board above and go there." And we would go. We call them the Rogue Life Adventures. From Rogue Life, it grew. Let's do bigger adventures. We backpacked across Indonesia. We spent time in Thailand together. Really, really interesting fella. You'll see more stories about the Indonesia story in the future. He was the guy that introduced me to riding a trike. So if you guys either love or hate the trike, it's Ryan's fault. He approached me and said, Hey, Matt, I found this cool way to travel," because we were thinking about doing a long tour. And he said, "It's called a tadpole trike." And I said, "Holy shit, that sounds horrible." Just this weird machine contraption that's going to carry us around. Turns out it was the best choice of a mode of transportation. And I can get into that in a future topic. This isn't about that. This is just about Ryan and his place in my life. There was a point where we were supposed to do this world tour together. Didn't end up working out. I ended up going solo. That's not about this topic either. There was a point, though, that I was training for climbing Mount Everest. I climbed Mount Everest. Not summited, but I got close. And I might have another opportunity to climb Everest. That's a little teaser. Only on the north side of Everest. Anyways, we'll digress on. Oh, a whole bunch of future episodes. I'm inspiring here. But again, that's not on the topic here. It's kind of related though. So I was training for Mount Everest. I was climbing a peak in near Pakistan called Mushtaga, 7,500 plus meters tall. And my final mountain, in order to complete my requirements for attempting to climb Mount Everest. And so before I had left to Mushtaga, Ryan had wanted to do part of the tour with me. And so when I went to climb Mushtaga, Ryan went radio silent. We had been discussing for a long period of time, and then all of a sudden he disappeared. No call, no show. We went and climbed the mountain in Mushtaga, and me and Annie went with me. You can see the videos of me climbing Mushtaga if you like. We were talking about where Ryan went. What happened to Ryan? Did he bail on me? Was he angry at me for something? I don't know. Me and Ryan have an interesting history, so him being sort of frustrated with me and for something that I didn't realize I was doing is quite feasible. Same goes the other way, too. That's what friends do. They get frustrated with each other, but they make up. Anyways, when we were on Mushtaga, we found out, and I can say this now because I've never been able to say this because this was Ryan's story, not my story to tell. But I asked him if I had permission to share this just now, and he said okay, because he shared it on his YouTube channel. He has a YouTube channel. Check it out. Check out a series of videos he's posting about being incarcerated in Japan. Because he was locked up in Japan. I didn't know it until much later, because when he was locked up, he wasn't allowed to communicate with the outside world. He was only allowed to have like a lawyer respond to him. He was dealing with the embassy in Japan. He was locked up. Did I mention that? He was locked up in Tokyo. He was teaching English in Tokyo, not murder or anything. In fact, I will let him tell his story and link to it wherever around the video. And so he's sharing this story, and it really fills in an interesting blank in the JaYoe story. There was a gap in time where my documentaries didn't exist, the vlogs didn't exist. My Facebook posts had this kind of like open question. I had been talking about inviting Ryan back to the tour to do this ride with me, and then suddenly he wasn't there, and then suddenly he was there. And if you listen to his story, you'll find out why. I won't delve too much into it. But for those of you that do know my past, that do know this period of time, this might help you understand what the heck was going on during that period. And he's finally opened up. He's finally shared it. He's a very chill, suave, casual guy. Kind of a hippie. Kind of a Fabio. He's the kind of guy you take to the club, and all the girls swarm to Ryan, and you're left in the lurch. You're the wingman. I was always Ryan's wingman. This was before Annie, before any of that. Anyways, the story of Ryan is now on his channel, and I encourage you, it's long. He's an interesting storyteller. You have to get used to staring at his hairy chest, like it or not. But his story is out there to listen to, and it will fill in a blank between JaYoe 1.0 and JaYoe 2.0. JaYoe 1.0 was me leaving Ningbo on my trike, cycling south, hitting Guangzhou, and then heading towards Guilin, and then getting run over by a box truck. I got ran over by a truck on a lonely road in China. I shattered my shoulder, had to go to the hospital. It derailed my tour. And so between that point and me starting the tour again is this point in time. So those are the markers. And so join Ryan's YouTube channel it's a very interesting series. I've watched them just because I do know the story, and I'm very interested in hearing him tell it because we had talked about it for many, many times. I thought it was very important. Getting locked up in a Japanese jail for the time that he was locked up exposed him to a lot of unique experiences that he was able to twist into positive reflections on his life. He was able to change his life in certain ways, adapt in other ways, understand things in other ways. And I think that he did about as positive a take on getting locked up in Japan as anyone could take. And so I will allow you a chance to listen to his story, and I hope that you like it. So I was talking to him just now, and as I'm talking to him on Facebook, I'm sending him a message, and then I have to wait for his reply. I'm sending him hey man, I really like to share this story if you'd like to. Remember the old times? We're talking about the old times and stuff. And we were talking about, he's like, man, you have an interesting life now, and you're exposing yourself to all this hate. And we were talking about being a thick skin. He's exposing himself a personal story in his life. And he's like, I'm afraid, not afraid, but he's like, I'm curious what kind of, potential negativity he might get for sharing his story, and how do you deal with it? And I've received a lot of anger and frustration from my channel, and I'm trying to deal with it. And so we were talking about that. And while I was sending him a message and waiting for his reply, I went into my Facebook and I checked the area of your messages where you can actually see received messages that are from people who aren't your friends yet. And they are in a special mailbox. And I always forget to check that mailbox because it's sort of off to the side. And there was 2 messages, both very different, but both beautiful in their own way. Let me tell you about the first one. Rewind the clock back to a simpler time. Matt, the Matt you're looking at was not the current China living expat. He was the insecure, coming out of a chubby phase, but growing, taller, probably less chubby than he thinks he is, because he was very insecure years before. I think it was middle school to freshman high school period. Still insecure, still uncomfortable in my own skin, but in a family that loves him. My 2 sisters are still alive. One of them is still currently alive. The other passed away. That's another story I would love to share, actually. But that's another topic for another video. But the family, which has united at this point. My dad and my mom are married. Still, they're divorced now. My sister is alive then. She's not now. Kids have been born. Lives have been moved forward. Mountains have been climbed. Caves in the world have been explored. So many things happening since then. But this was a naive Matt. Naive and insecure. Anyways, during the 4th of July, it's around the same time that the holiday Canada Day is progressing. So I lived in Detroit, southeast Detroit, within a stone's throw of Windsor, which is Canada. And we would take trips to Windsor to watch the American 4th of July fireworks. It was a tradition. We'd load up the cooler. We'd invite friends. We would pack all of our vehicles, and we would drive out to Windsor at 6 in the morning, I think. It was very early. Jump over the bridge or under the tunnel, pop on the other side of Windsor, and we would camp out on the grassy side along the waterfront of the Detroit River that runs in front of Detroit and bridges a gap between Windsor and Detroit. The Canada side is much nicer than the American side, at the time especially, and it gave a better view of the fireworks, which is what the purpose of the trip was. But as an added bonus, the Canada side was celebrating Canada Day. So they had Ferris wheels and a carnival and games to play and people eating candy and cotton candy and food from food stalls. And it is your iconic American carnival. Not carnival. Carnival. Carnival is a totally different thing, as a matter of fact. Carnival. And so we arrived early. We staked out a spot of grass, laid down towels, opened up coolers, started drinking Faygo Red Pop and Faygo Cola and Vernors and all these things that if you are from Southeast Michigan, you know, but if you're not, you probably don't. And we were just partaking in a day's activity waiting for the fireworks. We would spend the entire day in Canada, and at the end, it would culminate with a beautiful fireworks display over the Renaissance Center. And then we would go home late in tons of American traffic trying to jump over the bridge back to America. I remember that time. We didn't need passports. Crossing over from China to the United States was, or vice versa, was so easy, so nonchalant. And so we would cross back and forth. And I remember walking with my family through the throngs of carnival people, carnival workers, carnival patrons, the whole, just packed with Canadians and Americans. And I remember catching a glance. It was just a glance. But she was pretty. And I caught her glance, and she caught mine. And there's something to be said about that, eh? The connection of two eyes that find each other in a crowd that is just beautiful. And our eyes caught each other. I won't get into her name, but I'll never forget her name. Ever. Because when we spotted eyes across this crowded carnival group, we shared something. And we just knew it. We just knew there was a connection between us. And it was just so palpable. My heart started racing because at this time I was really insecure. I think anybody, even non-insecure people, when they do this sort of connection, they would get excited. And so we shared a glance. If I'm remembering correctly, I approached her and I said hi. Sweaty palms, apprehension, fear. But that glance that we connected with was so strong, it overpowered any worry I had. It was something, not nothing. And I knew there was something there. So I said, if I'm gonna talk to, I'm remembering now. If I'm gonna talk to anybody, it's gonna be talking to this girl. So I found her. Hi, I'm Matt. What's your name? And she said her name. Can we walk? My family went to their spot on the grass, and Dad enjoyed a beer. My mom enjoyed lemonade, and my sisters played. And I walked with this girl. And eventually, my hand found hers. God damn. The skin on her hand, I will never forget. Her fingers clasped in mine after such a short time knowing each other was beautiful. It creates such a warmth in your heart when you have a connection like that. It's really something that you can't have afterwards. As you grow up, after you have more relationships, as you have more experiences, one of the drawbacks, there's a few drawbacks. I'm a very experiential person. The more, the merrier. But the problem with the more, the merrier is that you lose the firsts. You lose the energy of that first. The first time you clasp hands out of passion, out of love. The first time you look across and catch somebody's glance and find out there's somebody else in this world that cares about me. Not out of a long, drawn-out family connection, not out of friendship cultivated over years, out of instance. There is something. And we shared that. And when she clasped my hands, it was a validation that I was shooting a target that wanted to be shot. And for a guy that was pretty insecure at the time, it was definitely needed. Because up until she clasped my hand, I was like, I hope I'm doing all right. I hope I'm not bothering her. I still worry. I hope I'm not bothering anybody. I don't want to be a bother. I don't want to waste somebody's time. That's one of the problems with me, especially when I was a bachelor, is I would always go around and I would talk to a girl and I'd be like, If she doesn't want me around her, I don't want to be around her. I'm not that sort of a fighter. Those guys that fight for the girl that doesn't like them in the beginning and they get them to like them, I'm like, I would much rather find somebody that really wants to be around me and make her want to be around me even more. So we walked around this carnival. She was shorter than me. I was starting to grow, proceeding from my short, chubby phase, my short, chubby adolescence to a taller, skinnier, more refined Matt, high school Matt, swimmer Matt, swim team Matt. And we walked around. We shared carnival food. We talked. I told her about my life. She told me about her life. She was Canadian. I was American. And beautiful. It was getting dusk. Colors were starting to change. The sky was turning from blue to orange and yellow and just beautiful red colors coming from the sky. I remember the sky had wisps of clouds that day. They weren't bulbous Simpsons-style clouds. They were wispy, and those wispy clouds sometimes create a beautiful backdrop for a sunset. And it progressed until dusk. And our hands clasped tighter through the day. And we found a small hill behind some tents set up for the carnival. Sort of solitary moment. Not too busy. My height advantage, her height disadvantage, closed on itself as she walked up this berm. And her head and ideally her lips lined up with mine. And we stopped. She knew it. I knew it. We looked at each other. Our eyes joined, the same spark from before. And we slowly moved in towards each other. Me apprehensive, her apprehensive, both apprehensive. And our lips met. And for the first time in my life, our lips parted. And the kiss went from a peck on the cheek to a passionate connection. Warmth, wetness, her searching out mine, mine searching out hers. Just, it was sloppy. Because both of us, she had kissed boys before, I think, but I had never kissed boys, ever. And never kissed a girl that way. Oh my God, I remember I got clammy and red and excited and whew, what a beautiful feeling that was. My hand wrapped around her waist, seeking out her spine on her back, pulling her close. My other hand touching her face. I remember, I just knew what to do. And we shared my first kiss. Oh, what a beautiful moment that is. I will never forget that kiss. We kissed a lot after that. Once the dam was broken, it was go time. It was okay to do that. So we kept doing it. And oh my God, it was beautiful. After that, we went home to Detroit. She stayed in Windsor, and but this was before I had a license. This was before I was mobile, and getting over to Canada was not a so easy thing. Not as easy as it was in subsequent years. And so I tried to get over there once and twice, but over the years I visited her twice, and I think the next time I visited her, she had a daughter. And we shared memories, but it was that one connection, that first kiss. That was the stuff, man. That was the stuff. Anyways, I just got a message from her. I haven't talked to her decades. And there she was in my received mailbox saying it was a quirky thing. So, random question. Did you ever go to Windsor for the fireworks? Now, she's sending me this message because she's not sure of who I am. She's just putting out some bait, being coy. Hey, did you ever go to the Windsor fireworks? And then I said, that's me. And she said, oh, wow, it's really you. I've been looking for you for years. Oh, boy. What an innocent, beautiful moment. And the ability to bring it back and share it, not only with myself, by bringing it back into my current memory, because I haven't thought about my first kiss in so long. But to share it with you guys is a nice thing. First kiss. Does anybody else have a wonderful story about their first kiss? If you do, please share it in the comment section. I would like to hear it, as long as it's not pornographic. If it's pornographic, just email it to me. No. Just so nice. Anyways, in my received mail, I received another message. And let's see if I can find it. And I'm not going to call names because I don't want to out this person because I don't know if she wants me to share it, but I will try to read her message as succinctly as I can. And another beautiful message from a person that watches me on YouTube. I want to thank you and your beautiful family. You certainly took us all on a journey. I found your YouTube channel while researching recumbent bikes, but I didn't find a recumbent bike video. Instead, I found your first video regarding coronavirus. This was before I think we left for the United States, when it was just starting to get bad in China. Something about the look in your eyes and the urgency in your voice prompted me to react immediately. I'm not prone to react to YouTube videos. The makeup drama channels don't spur me to buy the newest makeup palette or destroy one. My husband and I started to gather basic necessities and backstock perishable foods. I started talking with my employer and needing to stay home for a while. Even though we didn't have all the information we have today, I am immunocompromised and have a heart condition. The flu could easily take me out. This seemed way more serious. After your second video, I managed to convince my husband he needed to take more aggressive action. He started to buy supplies for his employees and started to coordinate plans for getting the majority of them to work from home. It made it so his staff could work safely. It got thousands of people home in days and not weeks. I've now been home for 80 plus days. We go out for drives around the neighborhood, but that's it. My husband and I are lucky enough to work from home, and we aren't impacted the ways many people are today. I am incredibly grateful you decided to document your experience. The impact is and was incredible. I'm going to skip over anything that might call this person out. I know we will be tasked to return to work in the next few months, but we feel like we have a great starting point and have been home and prepping for this new world of precautions. I look forward to watching more of your videos, and I'll have a look into your recumbent bikes in the future. Trikes. But gardening will have to do for now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Stay well, and God bless you and your family. I have received a lion's share of anger and hate and frustration from select groups of people. But this person makes it all worthwhile. Thank you so much for sending me this message. To know that I have been able to help people gain the peace of mind necessary to get through this in a way that saves lives and that puts you out of danger makes me so happy. It shouldn't have needed to be her watching my videos to make sure she was safe and knew what was happening and what was coming their way. But I'm glad at least that it was in this case. Honestly, she shouldn't have needed me to tell her to be prepared. It should have been something delivered on a massive scale to everybody in America to make sure that she was right and safe as a citizen and doing the right things at the right time to stem the tide of death that has gotten to America. It's really a shame. If more of our leaders were doing the things that I was just saying in my videos because of my experiences, then I think it would have saved a lot of lives. But we all have to do what we have to do individually to try and spread the message, and I appreciate that. So it's just interesting, eh? How our words have an effect on people, how our actions can ripple through time, and some things that can be perceived one way end up turning out to be another way. My friend Ryan had an experience that changed him profoundly. That girl in Canada and I shared an experience that changed us profoundly. And this woman in a part of America watched my videos, and it was able to change her profoundly. As long as we share profound experiences in a way that is born of integrity, love, passion, truthfulness, empathy, I think we'll be good. I think we'll be good. JaYoe, everybody, thanks for letting me share this. If you like my stories, please subscribe to my channel. I am going to be doing some amazing things. I have a travel show that I'm trying to start. It's going to be Monday, 8 a.m. in China, and Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time in the USA. I'm going to interview travelers, people I've met along the way, along this road I've traveled. I got a lot of them. I got a lot of people I've met. People you've heard of, people you haven't heard of. And I'm going to share their stories through an interview format that's live. And my first guest is going to be Darren Broadhurst, who has been riding a trike around the world, and we are going to converge in conversation online. We haven't been able to converge in real life. We have crossed paths through our prospective routes through Southeast Asia, and we were supposed to meet a bunch of times, but we didn't. He's a really good guy. He's got a fascinating story, and I'm glad to share it with you. I'll try and do this every week. If you know a traveler that you'd like to share and maybe have me interview, you let me know. Also this weekend, I'll do that 5-person, I think, talk about China. That'll be my China show this Saturday. So I look forward to seeing you for that as well. If that's not your cup of tea, that's okay. I think the travel show might be more the cup of tea for the JaYoe Nation, as it's more travel motivated and positive, and I like to share that with you as well. Subscribe to the channel, comment below. Tell me about your first kiss. Was it as transformative as mine? And with that, I will leave you. Binge watch Ryan if you can. I'm sure you'd appreciate it. Tell him the JaYoe Nation sent you. And once he can get over his hairy chest, he has an interesting story to tell. JaYoe, guys. Bye-bye.